everyone, welcome to Module 2. We have kind of had an introduction to behavioral health and social work, and hopefully you have a better understanding of what all of that entails. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into really the code of ethics, what you have to kind of remember and stick to as you would be working as a social worker. And then we're also going to look at APA writing because it is important to always practice proper academic writing. That's in an educational setting. That's also when you're out in the field. If you're writing emails, if you're speaking with coworkers, if you're jotting down information, you want to make sure that it's in a proper form and it's not emotional. That's another thing. You want to make sure that it's strictly informational and that people get the information without having too much emotion to that, which can be a little bit different if we're used to, writing in a different way that's a little bit more narrative. So we really want to focus on proper academic writing, which includes that APA. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the Module 2 folder. All right, so we could go ahead and look at our learning objectives for this week. And then our read and review, we're going to read chapter 2 of our book. And then for a few of the different, I should say the assignments, it's going to be helpful to kind of look at how to cite information. So if you've ever written in like MLA, that you probably have a good understanding of how to look up a reference. You're going to take that information that you get from a source, and then you're going to kind of use your own words to describe what they were stating. And then you still have to put some sort of citation as to where you got that. So you're giving proper rights or ownership to the author by having that citation. So you don't want to take information without citing it properly, because then you're plagiarizing technically, even if you rewrite it in your own words. So this is going to really help you understand APA, and it gives you a good step, like one by one of how you want to do that. So you want to read what you're citing, identify what you want to take, write that sentence by rephrasing it into your own words. You're going to have a reference to that, and then you're going to have an in-text citation. So anytime you have some like an information from a source, you're always going to have a reference, which is kind of like your reference page. You have that on a separate page, and then the in-text citation that's going to match that reference. And I will show you what I mean by that in the discussions. So this kind of gives you that idea of the steps that you need to take for that. Another thing that when you're looking up journal articles for the references that you're going to be using, because remember, you shouldn't be using just any sort of website or blog or anything like that for the different information that you're getting. You want to make sure that it's an academic or a reputable source that you're getting that information from. And we like to use academic journals for that. There's a checklist if you want to use it, and it can be really helpful to make sure that you're getting all that proper information to use for your reference. So that is in here for your reference to use that. And then there's a how to avoid plagiarism guide in here as well. And the biggest thing is that you want to paraphrase, you want to avoid direct quotes unless it's like really, really vital. You have to kind of put it in quotes, because you can always paraphrase information and then put that in-text citation and have the reference there. That's the best way to do it. It also will avoid any sort of checker if you're using like a plagiarism checker for a class. We use that in ours. So you want to make sure that you're paraphrasing the information so that your percentage of like a Turnitin that we use, that percent or the similarity report doesn't come up to similar. If you're paraphrasing, it should not. So that's one way to do that. And it kind of shows you. And again, that also helps with like ChatGPT. If you're using some sort of like AI, you want to make sure that you're only doing that for brainstorming, and you're never using AI or chatbots to write any of your papers, because that will show up as plagiarism as well. And you don't want to do anything like that. You want to make sure that you're using it as a helpful tool and not using it to actually do your work. So this will help you if you want to look through that. And then the second part of this, I have videos in here. So it talks about the difference between ethics, morality, and the law. We will talk about law a little bit later in this course in terms of how it applies to like social work and what we have to abide by. But this is kind of that idea of ethics and how that kind of looks in the field. And then I thought this was kind of a critical thinking exercise of a trolley problem. So you can get into that and kind of think about what would you do in a situation like that? Because there are times where I think with any career, but specifically when you're working with people, you're going to have to make a decision, and it's going to be like a sacrifice of nothing is going to really be a great outcome, and you have to kind of do the least worst of those outcomes. And I think that this trolley problem kind of summarizes that, unfortunately, sometimes in the field. So go ahead and look at that and kind of see what you would do. All right, going back to the top. So after you do all of the read and reviews of all the videos and all the APA, you can go ahead and get into your assignments. So this is going to be the discussion that I'll go over. You're going to have your Module 2 quiz, just like you had your Module 1 quiz. Your APA format quiz. So again, you're going to be going over some APA information, and then you're going to have this APA writing activity. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and show you this first. So you're going to go ahead and complete this, and it's really an interactive assignment. And what you do is you're going to learn a little bit more about APA using this. So I advise you do this first and then take the APA quiz so you can get some practice. I do have some links in the APA quiz that goes to the library. It also goes to another source, Al Purdue, which gives you some great APA lessons. But you can click through this. It'll show you what it means by a reference, which is what this is. And it'll show you what it means by a citation. So if you click through this, it's going to ask you to input something. So you're going to have to figure out, what you're going to start with. And if it doesn't go, it won't let you put it up there. So if this is not the first thing, it will not let you drag that over there. Okay. So you have to figure out what order is this going to go to, and then where is it going to land. Okay. So once you get it right, it will actually land up there, and then you can put it in order, and it will basically show you what that reference should look like. That'll give you the answer. So since it gives you the answers, it's really to go for completion. So once you finish the entire thing, and it will give you a score back here. So see how I haven't done anything, so it gave me a 0 score. So once you go through it and you have a score, you can then screenshot this page and then upload it to the Dropbox. This is more of a practice for completion, not for correctness. So if you do this and I can see that you've completed this, then you're going to get the full points for it. It doesn't matter if you get a 37 out of 39 or whatever, you're going to get the whole 100% for completing that. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Okay. And then for the discussion, I'm going to click on here. And because we're learning about APA, now I'm going to ask you guys to use a reference. And so after you go over the APA resources, you take your quiz, you go over that little activity, this will make a little bit more sense. Okay. So go ahead and read through this. It's going to talk about different dilemmas that you're going, or you could potentially face if you work in the field. It's going to talk about ethics and kind of the ethic model of decision making. And what you guys need to do is select one of these dilemmas, and then you're going to consider a few of these questions. You don't have to consider all of them, but just make sure that you're selecting one of the dilemmas, and then you're going to answer these questions. Okay, so think about that, and then you're going to be using a reference. So obviously it's going to be a critical thinking question where you're going to answer these how you would, but look up some sort of reference to help you, or I should say help guide you in answering these. Okay, you can reference the book, you can reference a journal article, but if you're not quite sure what that looks like, these are some examples of a reference. And this would be your actual reference. And then the citation would look like this. The citation is going to go within your actual writing. So whatever discussion you have, your citation would go after the sentence that you're stating the information that you got from your source. Okay, so if you're stating multiple sentences, you would need multiple citations. And I think after reading the information about APA, that will make a little bit more sense. Okay, but these are a guide. If you have questions about APA, let me know. You can also ask the Student Success Center about APA, but I'm always here to answer questions about APA formatting. I love doing that. So I'm always here as a good reference for that. Yeah, think about these dilemmas and how you would answer them. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just looking to make sure that you are kind of, critically thinking about this and then having your reference and your citation. But remember, you have to have a reference at the bottom and you have to have at least one citation in order to get full points. All right. Make sure you do these by Thursday, and then you can post a response by Sunday to another peer. All right. So that should be it for module 2. You have your quiz, you have your APA quiz, you have your APA activity, and then your discussion. So good luck. I hope you like learning about ethics, and I will see you guys in module 3.